Guys, so I finally did it. I finally got a pneumatic drill. I've been talking about getting one of these things for a very long time, and I finally bit the bullet and got one. They're not incredibly expensive. This one was about 50 bucks from Lowe's. Not too big of a deal. The biggest deal is the compressor that you have. If you do not have a compressor that can supply a lot of air, this is going to be a horrible experience for you, and I don't recommend buying one of these. So you ask, why did you buy one when you have a perfectly fine drill sitting right there? And there's a couple of reasons. For one, that is quite old now, and actually the lithium batteries are starting to die on it, so I can actually only get a couple of holes before the thing completely shuts off on me, which is, well, annoying at best. However, with this, basically, as long as I can feed it air and keep it oiled, it runs. And I mean, of course, eventually it will get cold and it'll seize up, but I mean, you get the idea. I can basically, my compressor is just good enough to keep up with this. Now, this is almost 7 cubic feet per minute. My compressor is only 4 cubic feet per minute at 90 psi, which is what this operates. However, I do know people who will run them a little bit higher than that. But the thing about it is that I'm not going to be drilling holes non-stop, so the compressor has some time to recover. Now, the issue with the compressor that I have now, which is the Kobalt 8-gallon air compressor, I've already done a video on that, is that it gets hot and it's not designed to be on all the time, or if it is, they just really suck at understanding how a compressor should properly be cooled. So you can kind of see I got some tubes coming up, and I'm running water through a cooling system. Also, there's a video about that as well. I'm going to have to print another pump in order to actually use this properly. But today, we are going to drill some holes with it and compare it to the electric drill that I have, look at some of the positives and negatives of it, and so let's get to it. The drill we will be comparing it to is a Skill, and I've had this for a long time. I actually personally really like Skill tools. You can kind of see in the background there I have a jigsaw that's Skill, and these are pretty good. However, unfortunately, this is getting old. You can see it's pretty beat up. So we're just going to be drilling a couple of holes. Right now I'm just drilling into the shaft, and this is for my homemade lathe project. I'd say that's probably a pretty good baseline there. Now let me go grab the air drill and see how it does. Oh, and by the way, we are using a 5/16 inch drill bit, so I do apologize for all of you in other countries that are not America and have no idea what the heck a 5/16 inch hole looks like. Well, I guess you'll find out today. Alright, part of the decrease in speed when I'm actually drilling is not the drill itself. It's actually because the regulator on my compressor can't keep up with the flow, which is really kind of screwy, but you know, whatever. It still does work, and I think that it does have its advantages. Now, am I saying that this is perfect, this is what you should get? No, not for all situations. Particularly for me, I think that I'm also going to find myself using the electric drill some as well, especially like if I'm inside doing work, because I can't really drag my compressor around. That's one of the big issues with air tools, is obviously the fact you have to have a compressor, and you have to drag it around with you, which is kind of a serious pain, especially because you really need a fairly big compressor, and mine's pretty small, and it's probably about as small as you could possibly get away with for running one of these, but I mean, still. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the pros and cons. Now, I'm going to try to focus on mainly this particular drill, not just air tools in general. I mean, probably if you're looking into air tools, then you already know what the disadvantages are, such as you really don't have that much of a speed control. Really, your only speed control is the amount of pressure that is going into the tool, so that's kind of unfortunate, and that is a downside. However, a real positive to one of these things is they do have a lot of torque. and they show it. Unfortunately, like I said, you can't really control the speed, so this one's about 2,000 RPM at 90 PSI, but I mean, you know, it's unfortunate you can't really control the speed. However, moving on, you do have to keep these oiled. These will last for just about ever, which is a positive. These last for a very long time, no battery, very few moving parts, they just last. And I think that you can watch plenty of because they just keep working. These things just don't die as long as you take good care of them. On the other hand, electric drills, obviously I mentioned the batteries start wearing out, this and that. If they don't have batteries, they have a big gearbox. It's just a real mess. Another positive is this is smaller. In fact, quite a lot smaller. It is quite a bit smaller, as you can see if I put these on top of each other. Kind of hard to see in the camera if I line up the chucks. You can see it is quite a bit smaller as far as this area up here goes. Kind of see it's a bit more bulky. Then you have this battery. I mean, of course, with the air tool you have a hose, but I mean, it is a trade-off. I think I personally prefer this over the electric one, mainly because I don't have to charge it. Now, a plug-in drill, that may be a little bit different, but so far I've really enjoyed having this, and I think it'll serve me well. And probably about a year or so, I will make another video showing how well this is done. I mean, my fingers are pretty long. My hands aren't that big, but my fingers are long. And this grip fits me pretty well, but this is very wide. You may have been able to notice. It's very hard to see on camera, but it is quite a bit wider than the average power drill grip. Kind of see it there a little bit better. So if you don't have fairly big hands, this isn't going to fit your hands, but that's the specific product. I think that really air tools in general are really good. There are some huge downsides you have to realize, but there are also some real positives. And I think that this is definitely a good purchase. If you're looking for an air drill, you have the compressor for it, and you have everything set up, this is like 50 bucks. You cannot go wrong with this. So I would highly recommend you getting this if you have the prerequisites. Otherwise, a regular old plain plug-in-the-wall electric drill is probably your best option. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a very nice day.